There's a growing story around loneliness and anxiety that's creeping. Actually, maybe more than creeping. It's just coming in with a flow that we're feeling in just about every generation. And I can only speak more for mine around the boomers, because I'm not going to say that I've got a complete understanding of all the other generations. There is an approach that I've come up with that helps me, and I want to share that with you. That's what this video is going to be about. But just to set it up, I know with all the deeper research that I've done to figure out what's going on, there's lots and lots of statistics. I get that. But I can just go back into my own life from a mental health point of view, emotional intelligence point of view, and note what's going on as well. In the conversations that I'm having, it's amazing as that some people are being diagnosed with this or that. Some of them are taking them up and feeling a little on the depressed side and losing themselves in all of it. In other words, another way to say it is they're getting in their own way rather than getting on their way. And it's unfortunate when that starts to unfold. And I think there's another way that we can go about living our lives. And if you have any ideas that you could add to this video, then please do. You can certainly put them down in the comments section. But I had to go through my own information transformation evolution as I'm now in my 70s, early 70s. But I got to share with you the tail end of my 60s. Whew, they weren't the best of times, and I shared a little bit that in my life story videos. You can find that in the playlist. And I just wanted to share with you that there is an approach, a pathway forward that you can walk, just like the pathway here to here, and as we move forward. And it's based on what's going to pop up here on the screen around understanding aging, curation, mentoring, legacy, Legacent. Now, each one of these has something that goes on. When I think of aging, I think of yielding to yes, or yielding to why, whatever way you would like to look at it. Because understanding aging as it applies to you, because each one of us is experiencing aging differently. I think about that birth year to death year and that dash in between, and how many dashes are you adding into yours? I said about, doing a lot and finding ways. But again, I didn't do all things. It's because I find myself a solo ager. I'm not with partner. I'm not with grandkids or family around me. So I'm a solo ager taking on life, this aging aspect of my life. And as I mentioned, I'm in my early 70s. So there are things here that I've got to come to understand about aging. And one of them is that I'm not approaching it as decline. I'm approaching it with curiosity and a desire to live an extraordinary life and to keep contributing wherever it is that I can. Wow, that's a great way in which to look at living your life. Eventually, it'll come to me sharing with you living the life that you intend to leave. More specifically, live the legacy that you intend to leave. So with aging, how are you approaching it? Even in the comments, thoughts here would be great. Appreciate hearing from you about what you think. Now, if we've not met, my name is Stephen. I'm a Legacent and enjoying life, as you can tell from these videos, or if you're watching more on the channel, please do. And so, where does that take us next? Curation. Well, herein is where I think the greatest contribution for yourself can be made, is instead of thinking about your aging through the lens of relevance, now that will come out a little bit later, why not think through it by curating or structuring your experience and expertise so that you know what you've got, what you've done, what you'd like to share, and then framing up how might you approach this. So if it's from a loneliness point of view, is there something here that you could do from a generational conversation, intergenerational conversations? Is there something here that you could do to get involved with a service club? Is there something here that you might want to find an online chat area that you can get involved with? I know I just saw a video, someone was talking about they created an online playground for olders. And I'll put a link down below. And I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting. And these kind of places and spaces online are going to pop up. But they're still in our community, you know, even celebrating, they call them Seniors Week. Okay. I tend to lean into the word older. I just enjoy it a little bit more than a lot of the other terms that we use. And so by curating and figuring out what's going on and what you can take forward, you got to step up. You could figure out a lot of what's going on there. One of the greatest ways is just take your resume, and if you've got a bunch of them over the years, just bring them together. And if you are familiar with AI and you want to pop them all in there and just ask what's the pattern here that AI sees, and then you can use that to figure out some stories or ideas that you want to work with. Great. If not, you can do it by hand. You can do a timeline, a chronological, hey, what happened here? What happened there? What was the great learnings? What were the things that supported me? What are the things that hindered me? You could do lots of analysis from that perspective and see what you come up with. And those patterns that you find and you make sense of them, then you can make some decisions about how to counter loneliness or anxiety or depression or things like that. I'm not saying you may need to get help because all of a sudden, because of understanding aging and curation, everything is solved. I'm not sharing that. I even went through my own support requirements and found that and got involved with some persons that really helped me to figure a lot of what was going on, because I was dragging some history with me and I had to figure that out. So that's the aging curation. So curation also could be looked at as the A, what you acknowledge, you align, what do you want to advance? So if we take it and go into mentoring, mentoring is actually the B aspect, is the behaviors from your beliefs. What do you believe to be of value? What do you believe to be of usefulness or worth? Or what do you want to improve, focus, or strengthen? These are the kind of things you can take a look at, because what that does is it sets you up for a really appreciating. When you listen, you learn. Where you share, you educate. And that's why mentoring is here as the B, and you can consider it, well, it could be the baton you pass along, it could be the bicycle you ride, it could be the bus that you get on, it could be the bridge, it could be the boat, whatever B ways you can think about moving forward with. And mentoring is such a great educational approach because it's one of those that is framed with listening and asking questions and having great conversations. I call them conversations of conservations, and I'm using conservation here in the biggest and widest and broadest sense. It's about the ecology and environment, yes, but it's also about relationships and about culture and traditions and ways of living life, which those of us who are getting older, we've got a lot of experiences around some of that that could be of assistance to others. So thinking about even your travel, or where would you like to go traveling and what would you like to explore? Where's your curiosity pulling you? again, that can take care of loneliness and depression and anxiety and mental health aspects that are popping up, or even suggesting and having conversations with your friends. They might even help them. Therefore, you're getting into a little bit of this mentoring storyline. It's a great way in which to do it. So give mentoring a go and see what happens. Now, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about mentoring, down below is a link to the International Mentoring Community. It's a legacy project I'm doing with someone. You may find that of interest. Give it a look, see what happens. Now, the component, let's call that the C, and that's about character and consequences, and that's really about legacy. Is that if you take this aging and your feelings around the aging and bring it through curation to figure out what you'd like to share, and you connect it through an educational approach like mentoring, then what's happening is you're going, okay, what could be my legacy? And your legacy is really, one of the best ways I can describe it is, it's about the useful whats that you gift others so that they can learn something from you, you can learn something from them, and together create something that you couldn't do individually. Legacy, time, effort, money. Yes, the assignment, or those resources that you have. And it isn't that you have to think about, oh, I need to create some hospital wing or create a club for youth or build. It can really be about even some of your donations that you'd like to make, your philanthropic donations. But it's also about your time and effort, the sense of volunteering. You could do lots of different things around this story of legacy. And when I bring it forward, I'm also thinking about legacy as in, and I mentioned it earlier, it's a decision to live your legacy that you intend to leave. Because a lot of people think of legacy as something that's near the end when you're going to transition, get all your matters in line, your will and your documents and your legal aspects and that. Actually, I found that legacy is something that I was really getting involved with in my 60s. And I'm carrying it forward, and I'm learning it, and I'm adapting it, and adopting other things, and just enjoying myself through this story of legacy. So I encourage you not to get caught that legacy is something that happens afterwards. So one of the great things is to figure out your legacy intention. And what I've found is the following. If you take this aging curation mentoring storyline and you go, okay, what is it from my imagined futures that I want to improve, focus, and strengthen? What is it in tomorrow that I would like to bring into today and start working on how to improve, focus, or strengthen it? Now, improve it is something about worth. To focus on it, it's to figure out what's the truth that's here. To strengthen it is what is you would like to develop that's not been around. So you could ask yourself what you want to improve, focus, and strengthen. One of those, two of those, three of those. I always suggest start with one and work it through and see where it takes you. What path do you end up on? And then you can figure out, oh, okay, these are my values. These are the challenges I see in here. Here's the story that's unfolding. And this is the contribution I can make with me and interacting. Or I can jump into a project and do a shared adventure with others. Things to think about as you continue to move forward. And when you've got this sense of legacy figured out and you're, yeah, got it. All right, the story of aging. I'm not going to let that loneliness or anxiety or depression get in there with me. I'm going to actually take it and figure out what I can curate. I'm going to get into some mentoring or an educational approach that you enjoy, and there's many of them. I got this legacy sort of figured out. About only one of the ways to really deepen my wisdom around it is to start it, get involved, make sense of it, take a stand, shape it, share it. There's videos on those 5 words if you want to pick them up in the playlists as well. Wow, there's a lot that you can get involved with as you're moving it forward. I have taken up a couple of legacy projects. One of them is that mentoring, international mentoring community. Another is working with this approach to share with you what legacy is all about and a way in which to live an extraordinary life, live a legacy life. And there's others that I'll certainly share more about as time goes by. But I did shoot a series of life story videos if you wanted to watch them, because there's lots of fibers to threads to strings to cords to ropes in there. And again, not to say that you take it, but if you did something similar, you could figure out these threads to strings to chords in your own life. That's what I mean about pattern recognition, and be able to explore and see where they take you. Now, with this legacy story, then I would go into the 5th area, which is Legacent. And Legacent is about ENT, which is a suffix that means being, and putting legacy in front of it. It's about being legacy. In other words, a Legacent is someone who is living that legacy and assisting others and finding ways to continue to improve, focus, and strengthen what's happening across all generations, being holistic in their approach, reciprocal, collaborative in conversations, just enjoying themselves, finding the fun, freedom, and fulfillment that goes with it. That's what a Legacent is about. And I have a Legacent Magazine that I put out on each full moon, and I'll put a link down below to where you can pick up the issues that I've already published. I'm into 8, 9 now, and just sharing ideas about Legacent, and link to these 5 areas of aging to Legacent, this progression that I've been sharing here with you. And so if you dive into all of this, you can find a way to express your own life, to live the legacy that you intend to leave. And it will counter a lot of those feelings that have come forward. And I just want to end with the sense of sometimes those ideas of the depression, the anxiety, the loneliness, and all that are given to you by others. Now, some of your friends may be saying that to you. Some of your family might be saying that to you. Grab a hold of that and go, hang on a minute. I'm not going to live that way. There's another way in which I'm going to live, and it's in these words that you find on the screen now. Give it a go. See what you come up with, and create your own wisdom. In other words, collect your facts and figure out what data you got, the information that's there, turn it into knowledge, into wisdom. When you share your wisdom, guess what? It becomes someone else's facts. Have you ever thought about it that way? Oh, there's something here. There's something here. And I'll be sharing more videos with you as we explore each of these. Again, subscribe to the channel. That would be wonderful. And look at the playlists. I think you'll find some really interesting playlists here that you can grab a hold of and learn a little bit more. And comments are always appreciated, and putting them down below. That way we can learn together. And one of the things that I encourage you, go to the home page on my website, wealthmovement.com. Again, you'll see it here. On that very front page, the home page, is a little diagnostic that you can take. It takes you a couple of minutes to do. And it positions you in terms of your thinking about where you are on this progression. I think you'll find that to be of great help. And always and in all ways, take care.